Cassar. Well, welcome back to another exciting episode of the Justice Plan podcast show, where we bring you innovative ideas and expert insights to make your wedding day unforgettable. Now, today, of course, I'm your host, Nathan Cassar, and we're diving into the world of stunning floral designs and unforgettable event experiences with the one and only Fiona Stellino, the creative force behind Fiona's floral designs and photo booth queens. Now, Fiona is a wedding and event florist with a true passion for creating bespoke designs tailored to each client's vision. Whether it's a grand celebration or an intimate gathering, Fiona's eye for detail and her perfectionist touch bring every space to life with elegance and flair. And it's not just about flowers. Fiona also offers fantastic photo booth services, including her mirror booth for weddings and LED Social Selfie Booth for events. She's all about creating a holistic event experience that captures moments and leaves lasting memories. After many years as an educator, Fiona found her true calling in floristry, retraining, I should say, and building her business from the ground up. She's since become a powerhouse in the industry. From meaningful heirloom touches to incorporating a couple's favorite blooms, Fiona's commitment to personalization sets her apart in the world of wedding and event design. Today, Fiona will share tips on maximizing your floral budget, the benefits of using in-season flowers, and the process behind creating the perfect wedding floral design. We'll also talk about the latest trends in wedding floristry and why booking your flowers, styling, and photo booth with one vendor is a game changer. If you want to learn how to take your event or wedding, of course, to the next level, you are in the right place. So strap yourself in. Fiona, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm good, thank you, Nathan. Good to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. Fantastic to have you here. It's funny, you and I met the first time I know at one of the big expos that we have here in Sydney by Wedding Expos Australia, which is a national expo. And I think what the funniest part was is that we discovered that we're actually, out of all the vendors in the entire planet, we literally live within less than 1 kilometer of one another. And I always know exactly whether or not you got a wedding on or you don't, or some sort of event, whether or not your van is parked out of the car, out of your driveway, because you've got your lovely branding outside. And so I've always found that lovely and fascinating. And I've got to see your work firsthand, because you were so kind to give my lovely partner Chloe one of your bouquets after one of the expos. She was very grateful for it, by the way.
Oh, that's
And
good.
I was impressed by the quality of it, of course. And so I must ask before we get into all the nitty gritty about just like why, after all having another career, like what was the spark that said, you know what, I'm done. I need to retrain. I need to uproot my whole life. I need to go into this floristry game.
Well, I was a special educator for 19 years. And although I loved my job, I really miss being creative. Like I've always been such a creative person. And I guess that was like just something that I was missing so much that I decided on the side that I would go and do my certificate 3 in floristry, just a little side hustle thing. And I just fell in love with it. I loved it so much. I started my own business, which I was only doing as a little thing. I do a wedding here and there. I do a few bouquets, and then I got engaged myself. With my beautiful wife Sharon, who I'm now married to, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to do my own flowers. I had a group of amazing girls with me as well that work with me, who I had met during my certificate 3 with Pearson School of Floristry, and I just loved it so much that I was like, you know what? This is my dream. This is what I want to do. It made me so happy. Like I was creative. I was making beautiful things. And I thought, this is what I actually want to do full time.
Mm.
And so I made it happen.
I love that. That's really great. No, I mean, of course, I think there's many stories in this industry of people having come from a wedding of some description, maybe one that they were invited to, or in your case, of course, one that was your own, and then they're therefore allowing it to be an inspiration. But there's many who have taken that inspiration and perhaps not really ever made much of it, and that's okay. Life is life, but certainly you have definitely made a lot of it and been able to completely transform your life and your career from it. So it's an absolute testament to your determination and just wanting to bring that creativity spark back to your life, which I can imagine just must be so wonderful when you wake up every morning going, "Oh goodness, thank goodness, I don't have to do the other job that doesn't allow me to be myself." I and that means you get to have this lovely, impact on many, many other couples who, obviously used to be just like you. And so with so many looking to create a beautiful wedding experience just like yours, but obviously budget being something that is the biggest word, the B word in the industry right now. What are some of your top tips for maximizing that floral budget whilst also still making that big impact that brides like yourself once upon a time wanted?
Yeah, so when I have my consultation with my bride, the first thing I need to know is what their budget is, but also what their inspiration is. And then I can kind of have a look at where we can best maximize that. For ceremonies, I think it's like when you have your photos taken, we're not taking photos of much of like all the guests sitting at their tables. The photos are going to be of the couple during their ceremony or at their reception. So that's what I say to couples. Let's make
Mm,
those big impact statement florals where you're going to have the photos during the ceremony. Let's, bring all those florals around you. So I talk to my couples about having statement pieces that are going to be seen in your photographs that you're going to then look back on years to come and treasure. Let's not spend all the money on tiny little pieces that are spread out that don't make any impact. Let's spend that money on making the most impact that's then going to be cherished for a lifetime in your
mhm.
photo. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it does. It really, really does. And actually, in fact, I'm very much an advocate of exactly what you're describing. Because don't get me wrong, I'm definitely one of those awful people that would say, "Oh, if you want to save money, don't get flowers." Like that's silly. But certainly, I think you're very right about being aware of what's going to be a part of the memory, like what's part of the story after the day. And one of those things is making sure that you are positioning pieces like floristry in places where they're going to be actually captured. So I think that is honestly, I've never heard anyone say that, but it actually makes such a remarkable amount of sense to really just position things that you want to be featured where they need to be and where they're actually going to be seen. That's brilliant. I love that.
The other thing that I try and pull my couples into is because I don't like waste. I suggest that if we're having beautiful florals in the ceremony,
Mm,
let me reset them. Let me take them during cocktail hour when you're off having a few other photographs. Let's move those florals if time allows. And if it's at the same venue, it's a little bit hard if you're having the ceremony and a reception
mm,
really far apart. But if I'm able to, I want to move the flowers from your ceremony to your reception. I can
mm,
reset them. What I generally do is if we're having an arbor, I'll take the flowers off the arbor and I will then reset them to look absolutely gorgeous on the bridal table. And that way, your statement flowers are still being used exactly where you need them to be for when you're having all those other photographs at the
mm.
reception where you're sat. And it also makes that big impact still as well during the reception.
Yeah, no, that's I really and again I see that a lot happening more often now, and I think it is great because it also just thematically ties it all in. It's almost like, hang on, the venue's not completely finished until we've moved that beautiful arbor behind the bridal table, or that one amazing centerpiece that actually really should have been draped across the front or at the bottom of it. Like it's great, and I think you're right about it being something that can really maximize the dollars too because you're not just going, okay, cool, in the bin, thank you, cool, good on you
Well,
for half an hour kind of thing.
but those flowers for sure have their life. Why waste them? You use them for ceremony. Why not use them all night?
Oh, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. Now, in terms of things, go lasting, so to speak, seasonality obviously plays a big role in design, and definitely a part of your whole career that I don't envy in the sense having to keep up with like what's in season in winter and what's in summer, and then therefore, oh, sorry, you can't have these ones unless you pay a fortune to import them, and so I would love to know, and I'm sure those listening would love to know about if you could share some benefits of using the in-season flowers and how couples can work with what's naturally available to create stunning arrangements.
Yeah, so I do actually have a list of all the flowers in season that are best used.
Mm.
on my website, on my blog. I think it's called like What's in Season, and couples can go on and have a look at what I suggest is the best flowers for the season that they're getting married. But there's things like peonies that are only in season for like literally 6 weeks.
Oh,
Um, and we generally get those around November to December. And then we can import flowers. So they're also available at the moment through import. But the issue with using imported florals is it's going to take your budget up because they're obviously going to be a lot more expensive.
mm,
So when we're using seasonal flowers that are in season here in Australia, grown at home, we're not only helping your budget, but we're also helping our own local growers, which I think is so important. Um,
mm,
Also, with seasonal flowers, you're going to get more for your buck and it's going to look fuller, fresher. Those flowers are going to last longer. I also get couples who are really concerned about getting married in certain seasons because they think there's not going to be any nice flowers, especially winter. People seem to think that winter has, oh, I'm getting married in winter. I'm so worried the flowers aren't very nice. I have big news. Guess what? Some of my favorite flowers are actually during winter. Some of the beautifulest, most colorful, gorgeous flowers I've done for weddings have been May, June, July. Like so, end of autumn, beginning of winter. Gorgeous
mm.
florals. Recommend that season a lot.
Oh, I love that. And I look, I've often found that winter gets a bit of an interesting sort of narrative around it in terms of the wedding industry, wedding season industry in Australia. I think of one thing to sort of say to add to the fact that the good news that you mentioned is the very fact that we're very lucky in Australia to have a wedding season that technically never truly ends, in the sense that we pretty much can service, well, at least in Sydney anyway, we can service weddings all year round. And it's compared to other countries like the US, the UK, Canada, that have a definitive no, we do not do weddings in this period, full stop. And so I think what the overall point I'm trying to make is that it is great to know that not only are we not limited specifically in terms of when we can host a wedding, full stop, but actually, as you said before, couples can rejoice that, the way that a wedding can be styled in terms of floristry isn't just limited to a specific part of the year here. So that's great. I didn't even know that, but I absolutely love that there is. I'll probably seen it and they just go like, oh yeah, nice flowers.
There's
Okay, cool.
beautiful flowers available in every single season. So what I talk to my couples about is give me your color palette and I'll let you know what flowers are going to be best with that. If they have
Mm,
a specific flower that they're dying to have, I'll talk to them about it. I'll see if I can source it. I'm always going to try, but if it's not in season, it's going to be an import. But luckily, a lot of Australian growers now do often grow things out of season in greenhouses, which is making our choice a lot wider.
there you go. I love that. Just innovation and keeping up with what the trends are like and what people want. I absolutely love that. It just gives more choice and more flexibility. And of course, better for the budget too. Now, obviously, it's great to know that we can save money. And that's one thing, but then choice can become extremely overwhelming. I know that if you gave me a list of flowers, I'd be like, cool. I have absolutely no idea where to start. Could you sort of walk us through what the journey looks like in terms of from initial consultation to the execution on the big day? What's a couple going to experience going through their floral journey with you?
Yeah, so what I ask my couples to do to start with is to fill out a form. To give me, I think I call it your floral wish list. And they fill it out. They give me some ideas on like the colors they like. I guess a general theme, like are they going for like a bit of a rustic theme? Are they going for an elegant theme? They give me some keywords. I ask them to show me a few inspiration pictures. Most brides and grooms often have a few pictures that they think, oh, I like the vibe of this or that. And it kind of gives me an overall sense of what they want their wedding to look like. Then from there, I will have a one-on-one consultation via Zoom or in person. They can come to my studio, and we have a chat about what's in season, the colors, what are the bridesmaids wearing, what are the groomsmen wearing, get a good feel for their venue as well, can suggest to them if I've worked at that venue, what works, what doesn't work. Then I go away and I create a mood board for them. In the mood board, I show my couples some inspiration pictures. I also show them all the different flowers that I would use, and I do a little color wheel as well. So I can make sure that my vision and their vision is exactly the same. And then I do a a quote for them, which is, all laid out. So everything is itemized, so they get an idea of what the cost is. And from there, we can have another consultation if we need to change anything. And then I bring it all together on the day. We have another
Oh,
consultation, I think, what's about 6 weeks out from the wedding, make sure nothing's changed. And then I start ordering from my wholesalers, make the
love
magic
it.
happen.
I love that. And you when you say the order, I'm actually curious about that process because I've talked to a lot of florists who say that beyond the ordering itself, they have to go and collect it. Are you one of those early 3, 4 o'clock early risers over to Sydney markets?
Yes, yes. So I'm up at the crack of dawn. Yeah, you got to get to the markets early to get all the good stuff. Otherwise, you miss out. There's a lot of florists there. So, yeah, markets open at 5 a.m. Luckily, we're not too far away from the markets here. It only
No, we're
takes
not.
minutes to get to the markets. I don't envy those that are very far, that have to, have a whole hour trip in. But I think there are some good delivery services out there for those florists that aren't super close. But I'm glad I'm not one of those.
No, I can imagine. I've been up there at that time. Not on the Monday. I've heard that the Monday, the start of the week, is the best for, but they only really ever open them up to people like yourself. I know that by the time you get to Saturday, Friday, they say like I thought that the flowers look phenomenal still, but a lot of all of my friends were like, "Yeah, no, like that's not the stuff we want. That's the desperate like something happened, something changed, or there was a it's something emergency. We needed to rush over there. You barely see any. If you see a florist running around at 5 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday, something's wrong. And I was like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. Again, I'm a Monday, Wednesday market goer. So the days I'm early there. Occasionally I'll go on Friday if it's like a Sunday or a Monday wedding. But most of the time, Monday, Wednesday market morning runs for me.
Nice. Well, commitment to the game, you know what I mean? So that's I respect that a lot. Now, we just talked about actually we touched on trends a little bit earlier about the set in terms of seasons and so forth. But obviously trends are changing all the time, including, the market tastes, what couples want, but then also just generally like floristry just goes through changes just like clothing and everything else has in this industry. So what are you seeing at the moment in terms of the latest trends in terms of color palettes, bouquet styles, techniques, and that kind of thing?
So obviously color plays a massive part in forestry because whatever trends that are in that color world transfer straight over to us. So I'm seeing a lot of yellow, lemon, like meringue colors at the
Oh,
moment, a lot of bridesmaids. And also the other color that is really popular is the sage green. It's
mm, mm,
coming back. So that then transfers into flowers. So we're seeing some really like I wasn't seeing as much like buttery, creamy yellow flowers. And all of a sudden they're everywhere. The pastels, they're bringing in those gorgeous pastel colors back. And then also a lot of just green, like just going for green and a touch of white, more earthy florals. I'm even
mm.
seeing a big trend where we're not actually having a lot of flowers. It's more foliage based, really textural.
Yes.
If you have a look in some of the more celebrity, I was actually looking on Instagram the other day and I saw some of the Matilda players' weddings.
Oh,
I was
yes, 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 yes.
zooming in on all the florals as us florists do, and I was in love with the textures. I mean, this wedding was in France, so they had so much hydrangea, and
Mm,
it was absolutely gorgeous. The thing about Australia, obviously, is hydrangea. I love to use it, but it is a summer bloom, and in summer it gets quite hot here, so it's just keeping it hydrated. But I do love
mm.
using it, and I do think it is really on trend at the moment. But just keep in mind, if you are getting married in the heat of summer and it's going to be a really outdoor wedding, we just need to think, how can we keep the hydrangea hydrated?
Mm. Yeah, classic. I would imagine so. It's in the name.
Yeah. But bouquet styles, I'm seeing more and more brides are asking me for cascades and trails, which is really fun. So I'm seeing a little
Okay.
bit of a throwback there. We're getting some more, cascades. They cascade down like a bit of a waterfall. Fun to make, a bit different than just your regular bouquet. So yeah, seeing more and more brides asking for those types as well, which is fun for me.
Interesting. And are you getting a lot more couples asking if you can do the late evening bouquet services to wrap up all the flowers to give to guests as well?
Yeah, so that's one of the things I suggest. Well, it depends on like what they're having, but
Mm,
I say to the couples, I don't want to see any flowers go to waste.
mm.
So yes, please take all the florals with you at the end of the night. I can bring elastics and we can wrap it in paper. A lot of the arrangements I make for guest tables can literally be picked up and taken away.
Mm.
So I say to the couples, just have a chat with people, let them know who you'd like to take the flowers. But if there is big arrangements where people can take flowers out and I can wrap them at the end of the night, then yes, I'll definitely do that. If I'm coming back for a bump out, that's definitely something that I do offer. And it's good to see
Yeah.
people and continue on their life after the night.
Oh, I
I had
love that. And
that.
it's a fantastic thing to see. And whenever couples are telling me that they got a floristry, like, the bouquet setup station happening at the end of the night, and or I just generally have the permission to tell people to, over the microphone, to tell people to take flowers home. Like, it always does make me feel a lot better because yeah, there's some fantastic things that are put up, but
There is another great service out there. There's a Parramatta-based service. I think it's called Flora Beautic. And you can hire her to come in at the end of the night. She'll take all the flowers and she'll actually donate them to nursing homes in different places so that they can
she
get. She's
awesome.
amazing.
I've actually partnered with her separately last year, and I recommend her to all my couples as part of my vendor partnership. So definitely, I'm love that. She also actually does preservation services as well, so
Yeah,
that's
she
also
does.
a thing. But I think it's a very small fee. I don't want to obviously say her fee because I can't remember it, but I know that per how much it is, it's a relatively tiny contribution to that basically just pays for her ability to get it out, to then to be able
Yeah.
to send it to like nursing homes and so forth, as you said. So no, I appreciate you shouting that out because she is amazing. So Florapeutic, everybody, definitely look that up. You can definitely do some good at the end of your wedding as well. No, that's yeah. If of course you choose not to give it to your friends and family. So
Yeah, absolutely.
now, one last thing before I got a couple of rapid fires, I'm going to wrap up. But I do have, I was curious going through all your information in terms of what you offer and everything else like that, because I don't think I've met oh no, perhaps I have, but they've been like event manager, wedding planner, stylist, and then they've maybe tacked on photo booth at the end. But I've never seen a florist then also do photo booths as part of just their normal sort of business. And so what's the obviously the what are the benefits of perhaps booking from someone like yourself who's just solo instead of from one vendor, so to speak? But then like how did you get inspired to add photo booths to it? And what does it look like in terms of couples having that whole sort of trifecta with your floristry styling photo booth?
Yeah. So I guess it's the design aspect of it that I love as well, because all the photo booths, or the two photo booths that we have, which is the mirror photo booth and the LED photo booth, all the designs on the screen I design personally.
Hmm.
So when you're having your florals with me, I can make sure all the colors perfectly match those that are going to be on the screen at the photo booths. Um, it's just something fun. We got one for our own wedding, and then I was like, well, this is something I could add on, and then couples can get a discount. And then I'm already there doing the flowers, so I just bump in the photo booth, and then I stay, and then I'm going to pack the things up at the end of the night, like my styling items. So it's kind of like an
Mm,
all-in-one service. So yeah, we do offer the photo booths, and then I also do offer styling items as well, which includes I can do your menu cards. I can do the welcome sign and the seating charts and all those sorts of things. So I can type all of those designs and colors in together so
mm.
everything matches. I guess it just comes down to my creativity. I guess that's where it stems from, because I love the design aspect of things and I love creating,
Yeah.
and it just kind of all ties in really nicely.
No, it makes sense, and it's fantastic. I love that. I love seeing vendors like yourself. Not just go. Well, don't get me wrong. There's plenty out there who specialize very, very well, and I respect all that as well. But I love a bit of innovation and creativity, and I like that it's not just we bought these machines and like whatever. Like you're like no, no, no. Actually, we've also designed like we personally take into account your theme and then place that digitally. So I think that extra step is what I've not seen before, at least in terms of that level of detail that ties it into what you actually do as well on sort of your mainline business. So that's fantastic. I can imagine couples being absolutely thrilled by that.
Yeah, it is fun. So yeah.
So
So,
we we don't have a lot of time left, unfortunately, and I could talk about flowers with you forever. But I would love to ask you a couple extra ones that we call a rapid fire, and then after that, we're going to find out how people can book your floristry styling and photo booth extraordinaire services. But first question for you: Do you is do you prefer indoor or outdoor weddings?
For the ceremony,
For
outdoors.
yeah, okay.
It just has, I guess, with the flowers, it's just like you feel closer to nature
Mm,
and the
I like that.
views and the smell. And I don't know, unless it's raining, but even then, it can still be nice. I just suggest if you're having an outdoor wedding, just make sure you have a wet weather option.
Yes, that is very important. What about reception though? Because obviously, there's so many different ways that an indoor reception can look different compared to, like, say, an open marquee, for instance. What are your preferences?
I don't have a preference for that. I honestly think it just depends on the season. You're going to have an outdoor wedding if it's really cold. Um, but I mean, to be fair, most of the weddings I do tend to be indoors for
Hmm.
receptions. However, most of the weddings I do for ceremonies tend to be outdoors. But I think an outdoor like reception is super fun if the weather allows for it.
Yeah, it definitely. I think one of the most prominent ones I did was a number of years ago at Centennial Vineyards, and it was. I was a little worried in the sense that, like, oh, is it going to rain? Is it going to? But no,
That's
they have the indoor facilities as well. But it was definitely a little bit like, "Mm." And then we got to it was absolutely gorgeous. Like, the day was absolutely perfect for it, and it would have been, a no brainer to have had it outside. But definitely a bit of a roll of the dice. So I respected the
yeah.
couple a lot for being wanting to play with the odds. And final question for you: What is your absolute favorite flower?
This is a hard one. I have so many and it changes all the time. Can I name more than one? I have two favorite flowers.
All
Three.
right.
I have three I have three favorites, and they're all really different. So
Okay.
my first favorite is the earrings that I'm wearing right now. Is the king.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's a native flower. It's a big centerpiece flower. It's a focal flower. The other flower I absolutely love is a dahlia.
Hmm.
Favorite. And then another flower, which is completely a bit random, is a tulip, but I don't like them in things. I just like them by themselves, just in a vase. So
Okay. All
three
right.
really different flowers. They're my three favorites.
Excellent. I love
What's
that.
your favorite flower, Nathan?
What is mine? Oh, gee, no, no, I don't know. Am I gonna say? Oh, am I gonna sound basic and say a rose? No, look. You know what? I actually I know how to answer that question. I like uh sunflowers because my partner really loves them. So I know that when I give them to her, she absolutely, like, her face just lights up. So I'm happy to go with that one for now. Unless her favorite flower changes, and then it'll probably change again. So yeah. I'm adaptable just like you. Fiona, how can people find you and get to experience the amazing work that you do at their wedding?
So I do have a website called Fiona. It's www.fionasfloraldesigns.com.au. I'm also on Instagram. If you just type in Fiona's Floral Designs, it'll come up my pink logo. I'm on Facebook as well. But yeah, you can see most of my recent work on Instagram. That's where I post the most, do stories, do reels, get on there and have a bit of a chat. So you'll see my face on there a lot as well because I like to be personable.
No, it's great that you do that. And I think, don't get me wrong, I know some people, struggle with the idea of putting their face to their brand, but I love that you are so personal, and it's able to, people can see the person behind making the creations is, always going to make it a much easier process for them to decide on who to go with. So thank you so much, Fiona, for sharing all your vision and your passion about floristry and styling. And I cannot wait to work with you down the line soon again. And I'll beat my horn the next time I drive past your van.
Thanks so much for having me, Nathan.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of the Just As Planned Wedding Podcast. Please like and subscribe to let me know that you want more videos just like this one. And of course, please follow us on our socials at Just As Planned Wedding on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube for more expert insights to help your wedding go just as planned.